Greetings, my Israelite brothers and sisters, heirs, joint heirs, adopted, grafted, natural, spiritual, however you may come. Just wanted to say hello to you. I told you I'd be back today, and I thank all of you all for tuning in earlier this morning. Looked at some very nice comments that you all left. So I titled this Things, Current Events, that are in Prophecy. Okay, things to watch. That's all. It's just things to watch. Now, let me lay a disclaimer. Okay, first of all, you all know I'm not a doomsdayer. I'm not a person that looks at everything that happens on the news and say, "Ooh, y'all know that now." I don't do that. I don't subscribe to, I don't or any of that. So those of you that know me know I don't do that, okay? So there are some things that are happening that you can just look at, and they are leading to, they're not the fulfillment of anything. They're just, look at these things that I'm getting ready to share with you as if you're playing a game of chess and pieces are moving out of the way so things can take place. That's all this is, okay, that I'm sharing with you. So don't look at it as if the world's ending tomorrow. The world is not going to end tomorrow. And somebody says, how do you know that? Does the scripture says, and nobody knows the day nor the hour? Yes, it does say that. But one thing that I do know is not going to end tomorrow, because the abomination of the desolation is not standing in the holy place, operating as if they are God. That has not occurred yet. The temple has not been built yet. So therefore, but there are pieces that are coming together that are leading to that shift, is making way for profit. I'm going to share what it is. I just want to get that disclaimer out first. Okay, that's all I wanted to do. Now, what's happening? We know that that 200 million army, or however that number is in the book of Revelations, we know that's Russia and China and their allies, that is going to cross over the Euphrates River and go into Israel to lead up to the point in time which the Messiah comes. How can that happen? And Russia is not a world power. How can they do that with the United States being an ally to Israel? How can you even fathom that Russia and China would be able to invade like that successfully? So let's talk about it. First of all, under the current administration that we have in our country, the political administration, if you look at the United States and what's happening, nobody's together. Everything is every which way. You would never think that in the year 2019 that we have such a time like this, where the country is in a racial divide as well as an economic divide. Certain things are now lining up that separates people from people. There's no unity. So you have a political dysfunction that leads to everything else becoming a dysfunction in America. And you have an investigation that was historical, because we've never seen such an investigation since the Watergate, where a political party is going after another political party for colluding with another country. who is not necessarily an ally, being Russia in this case. Okay? So what did that do? What is Russia doing? What is China doing? Russia and China are flexing its muscles, because whenever you don't have your own house in order and you got dysfunction in your own house, whether it's political, whether it's the issues we're debating about, America is on a dysfunctional system right now because of the issues that we're discussing. We're discussing same sex. We're discussing which political party is the best. We got all of these individuals exiting out of one party, going to another party. This party wants to impeach that party. It's crazy right now. This party wants a wall, this one don't. This one wants immigration, that one doesn't. There's too many issues for America. It has to stay within its and concentrate domestically what's happening. And therefore their global attention their global affairs gets less attention, gets less recognition, less resources. So we haven't seen that in its fullest yet, where globally America is removing their resources to come concentrate on home. But you do see signs of it happening, and then you do see some efforts in which that is happening. So, for instance, whenever the president says we're going to remove troops out of certain areas of the world, and he does that, and then you have other groups stepping up or taking control or making moves or doing things because they feel like if America's not here watching things, we can do what we want to. So we see that, okay? Just the announcement of that caused things to happen in Syria. We saw things happen in, forgot the other country where they had over 40 some odd people, because everybody knows America, who has been the watchdog, is pulling its resources back home. So you see signs of it, okay? Now, the other thing is, when you look at Russia, Russia feels, and China, who are allies, feel like that they can step their efforts up. So look at Venezuela. Y'all have heard me talking about Venezuela when it first came out. It wasn't something that a lot of people were talking about, but I brought it up on this channel, not as a prophetic prophecy in Venezuela, because I knew that China, who's been loaning every country in the world money, they have, whenever they make these loans, they have a particular interest. And so they had loaned Venezuela a lot of money, and Venezuela's assets, its staple was the what's the word I want to use? It was the collateral for that loan. So their oil, their coltan, their gold, their mineral resources was the collateral that China had against the loan. So Russia and China, when America saw that, they had to put somebody else in charge. And that did not work. It is not working. Let me put it to you that way. So far, it is not working. And which is the number one of two things I want to tell you to watch as you see prophecy pieces moving out of the way so prophecy can be fulfilled. Now, the fulfillment, the prophecy is that Russia and China, the Gog and the Magog, is going to be the forces that enter into Israel according to biblical prophecy. How do they get their strength? How do they get their boldness to do that? Well, look at what they're doing in Venezuela. Circa gave someone else notification, you're the real president. Well, what is happening is the current president has not stepped down. He still has the military support. He's still standing strong. The other individual he's a young guy. I think his wife is 28. He might be 37, if that old. And they're not. America told him that we got your back, but how do they have their back? And so last week Russia sent over 2 great big large planes full of soldiers and landed an invasion. So what does Russia do? Send over 2 planes of troops, probably more to come, okay? And they're setting up shop. China helping Russia set up shop. So what does that mean? America, even though it's Venezuela and it's on this side of the Western Hemisphere and not in the Middle East, Russia is ignoring America. When they say, get your troops out, get out. And we're not going to say what we're going to do. And so, something to watch right now, because Russia is already starting to gain force and recognition to be a strong country again, with China backing it up. So that's the Bible prophecy, because in order for Russia and China to do what they're going to do biblically, they have to biblically also become the world power, or at least strong enough and bold enough to do what they're doing. That has to happen. Prophetically, that has to happen. Okay? So the other thing is, so when we look at Venezuela, watch that. Watch what's happening. Watch what's going on. Watch your news. You can watch Fox and CNN, ABC, MSNBC. You may have to go to a different platform, maybe YouTube, and kind of look at the news on that on demand and kind of look at what's happening there. I wouldn't spend a lot of time on it. It's just a piece moving out of the way, or that has moved. And so you can see that America cannot carry that verbal threat where somebody's going to shake anymore. They just don't. Whenever, to back it up, when America told the current president, Maduro, to step down or else, and they said, well, what are you going to do? And they said, all options are on the table. Now, that was before Russia went over. They just said, all options are on the table. Russia somehow quietly, strategically, after that was stated by the United States, about 2 or 3 weeks later, sends over 2 planes full of soldiers. So that's why you have to watch what's happening here. You got to watch it. The other thing to watch is the Golan Heights in what's happening in Israel. It's called the Golan Heights, G-O-L-A-N, the Golan Heights. Look at that. Look at what's happening over there. It's a mass of high hills and mountains, and they're called the Golan Heights. I believe they belong to Syria, but it's been occupied by Israel. The United States recently told Israel that we recognize this officially, we recognize it officially as being your annexed property. You're going to annex that into Israel. Well, that has set off everybody. So what has Russia gone to do. And whenever you see Russia doing something, believe you me, China is backing them up. So Russia went over to Syria. They sit down and they said, we got your back on this. It's not going to happen. So why is Russia so bold and why they're flexing their muscles to do that when they were so quiet and so this and that? It's because it prophetically has to happen. It must happen. So it's like, again, it doesn't mean that everything's happened tomorrow, because the abomination of the desolation is not standing in the holy place operating as if it is God. Because number one, the temple hasn't been built, and the abomination of the desolation is not operating out of Israel yet. But you can see things moving in that direction. So that's about it. I just wanted to share that with you so you can, every now and then I'll go political and share with you what's going on so that you can be abreast. In the meantime, just concentrate on the plan to salvation. That's it. Let's just stay with that, because if you don't understand the plan to salvation and you get consumed in all of these other things, and I'm not saying not to monitor it, because remember the scripture says watch and pray. But this is one of these things that you just need to simply watch. Just watch it. Watch it unfold, because the Bible is unfolding right before our various eyes. So we're in that end time when you can just read the scriptures and watch things as they unfold. Politically, economically, you can just watch it. And brothers and sisters, it is happening, okay? But remember, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High. You can't dwell in the secret place unless you are prepared for salvation. If you're not keeping his laws, statutes, commandments, his laws, and you haven't accepted him as the Son of the Most High, forget it. Forget it. You can watch the news, you can follow the prophecy, have it right, and got everything down to the order. You can know who you are, track it down all the way to the DNA analysis, as Brother Ron Dalton has put it. But if you don't have the plan to salvation, just forget it. It's something I can tell you. So just want to drop that little nugget out to you so you know what's going on, what's happening. I don't watch the news as much today, but there are certain things that I watch and I hone in particular just to watch. I usually watch what's happening with Russia and the United States. So you can almost put in there Russia, the United States, and you'll find different conflicts. And some of them are not getting highlighted. Like the Golan Heights, Golan, is getting very, very little attention in our media. This has been going on for about 2 weeks now. About 2 weeks this has been going on, and nobody's talking about it as much. How you doing, Tobiah? How you doing, Biblical Tea? How you doing, A Warm Salt Fidelity of Yah? How are y'all doing? Well, I just wanted to leave that